You sure you won't be free tonight? We're gonna be camping here. You can always join. Haha, you're funny. Like I would spend time with someone like you. Why not? You into women or something? No, I'm just not into people who always have their mind in the gutter, like you. Here's your tickets and the keys to the boat. There's a billboard right there, go read it yourself. You'll be fined if you're late. Earl chuckled as he put the money on the counter. Enjoy the tip. The young woman cringed, like you can afford to even tip me. She scowled before slamming the counter window shut. Earl walked down the dock to the boat, watching the young woman walk around the shop through the glass. You should have known I don't take no for an answer. There are always other ways. Earl, hurry up, man. You got the keys? Yeah, you guys got the gear onto the boat? Come on, let's get going. It's gonna take a while to catch and fish here. Earl hopped onto the boat with the guys, Billy and Jackson. The three men had planned to go fishing today. They got their fishing equipment, tools, and buckets of chum ready before they traveled all the way to Klamath River in the Klamath National Forest, where they rented this boat. As they went down the river and into the forest, Billy began flicking portions of chum into the water, trying to attract the fish their way. The girl from the boat rental, huh? Geez, man, she was something. What did she say? She ain't up for it. Got offended because I was staring at her shirt. Yeah, right. Like you were staring at only her shirt. That's why you don't compliment them, man. You just go for it. Nothing a few drinks can't do. Tried and tested. The men jeered and snickered as they slowly halted their boat and threw in their fishing lines. As Billy looked around, he suddenly noticed something move in the forest ahead. He sat up and looked closely. You guys see what I'm seeing? I thought we were in the restricted zone. Is that a cabin in there, in the middle of the forest? Jackson picked up his binoculars and zoomed into the cabin. Oh yeah, what a view. I know a 36-24-36 when I see it. Earl quickly grabbed the binoculars and looked. She's here with a guy. What are they doing living in the middle of the forest? Are people supposed to be living in here? This place is deserted. The three men looked at each other as a grim smile spread across their faces. Well, ain't that good news for us? It's been long since we got a good prey on our hands. We gotta get that girl. And the guy? It's 3 against 1. Earl, Billy, and Jackson turned on the boat engine again and steered towards the bank of the river. A bit far out, tucked between the trees, they spotted a makeshift cabin. The house seemed to be made by hand. There were logs chopped outside, and a fence around the cabin seemed to be incomplete. When Nolan heard the sound of a boat engine nearing the bank, he dropped his axe and headed on inside. He found his wife, Ivania, drawing the curtains and peeping through them. Nolan, they spotted us. Looks like they're making their way here. Who are they? Probably fishing out here. We have to be prepared, Ivania. Did they recognize us? It could be. What are we going to do? Ivania said, pacing around the room. Don't worry, I don't think they will recognize us. We're far from San Clemente. Nobody should know us around here for miles. No, Nolan. The police were chasing after us when we ran away from San Clemente. After what happened, they're probably guessing the areas we might be in. Besides, there's no doubt that they put up posters all over California. Stay calm, Ivania. We can't afford getting worked up right now. Breathe, and let me handle this. And what if they call the police already? We'll be surrounded before you know it. Everything will turn into a disaster. How am I going to handle things without you? No. Not all over again, Nolan. If they come here, they'll identify us. We'll have to suffer the consequences. As the couple were discussing their plans, they heard a sharp knock on their door. Ivania ran to the window and peeped through the curtains again. It's them. Nolan nodded as he ushered her to stay put inside. He slipped on all his chain locks on the door before he opened it. "Hello, can I help you, men?" "Hello, my name is Earl," Earl said, looking at the man peering over the chain locks on his door. "Earl Evans. I'm sorry, we didn't mean to bother you, but we came fishing here and we happened to run low on some supplies. Would you happen to have a lighter we could borrow, or some matches?" Billy raised his hand and nodded. "Bill Parker here." Jackson smiled politely. "Jackson Watts. It would be very kind of you if you help us out." Nolan stared at the men for some time before he opened his door and stepped outside. "Sure," he said, taking out a lighter from his pocket. "Thanks, man. You wouldn't mind if we set up camp around here, would you?" "How did you three men get here? From the boat rental up ahead?" Yeah. We were out having some fun, that's all. But we were actually surprised to see your cabin here in the middle of nowhere. You live here? Are there other people living here too?" "Maybe there are a few others far off down the river. I was here with my wife, Emily. She's a doctor. We came here for her research project. I'm assisting her in her work." "What's your name, mister? We thank you again for helping us out." "I'm Jacob Cox. You men can keep the letter. I should be heading on in." Earl and Billy set up camp just a distance away from the cabin and began starting their fire while Jackson went around the area. Every now and then they noticed the woman and sometimes even her husband looking out their window. Earl chuckled as he put some of the food they had brought along onto the fire. "We got them all stressed out. Well, they should be. Countdown to sunset." "There ain't nobody around here. Nobody's gonna hear a thing." Ivania and Nolan patiently waited out the afternoon, but when the men didn't show any signs of leaving, they started to get worried. They looked awfully suspicious, and it seemed that they were trying to spy on them. Two of the men had returned to the cabin a few times. One of them had even tried entering the cabin. "Sorry to bother you again. We actually ran out of fresh water. Would you be able to assist us, or at least tell us where we can get fresh water around here?" "Hey, I was just back here to return the lighter. That's all. Thanks again." "I said you can keep it." Hold on. I actually wanted to invite you. We caught fish here and grilled it up. Why don't you bring your wife? And we can enjoy all together." "No, that's all right. We already had our dinner." "I don't like the way they keep peering over here, Nolan. They're up to something." Looks like they're targeting you. You think they'll leave anytime soon?" "I don't know, but we have to stay on guard." The whole afternoon went by in anxiety until sometime around 7, Ivania heard a splash of water outside. She breathed out in relief to see the men putting out the fire and packing up. Upon watching the men take their things and leave, Ivania and Nolan finally resumed their daily routine and relaxed. "We have to figure out something better, maybe make some new IDs. If we return to the city, people will recognize us for sure. Don't worry about me, Nolan. I'm happy as long as I'm with you." However, sometime around midnight, the couple was disturbed by a loud bang on their cabin door. Nolan heard the voices of the three men laughing outside. When Earl, Billy, and Jackson noticed the couple had been keeping an eye on them, they decided to play a little game within their game. They packed up and pretended to leave, but all they did was turn the boat engine off and hide out in their boat, waiting for them to back off their guard. However, when the men broke into the cabin, they froze right in their place, widening their eyes to what they saw. The man was sitting in his armchair, while his wife was chained and shackled to the corner of the room. They burst out laughing, immediately surrounding Nolan with their knives as he tried to get up. "What in the world is going on here? We thought we were bad." But you turned out worse. Yeah, man, but this is great. You made our task easier. What you're doing isn't right. You'll regret this. Don't bull us, dude. She ain't your wife, you dirty liar. Jackson stooped down to Ivania, taking hold of her chains and pulling her by the neck. Ivania pulled back, shouting, "Get your filthy hands off of me." Oh, wow. You trained her too. Darn, girl, you're good at roleplay. What did you do to her, man? Did you kidnap her? Who is she to you? He got himself a slave. Is she your slave girl? Billy and Jackson started to break Ivania's chains. Ivania gritted her teeth, screaming, No, don't open my chains. But sweetheart, try to understand. If we don't open your chains, how will we enjoy you tonight? Nolan took the lamp beside him and threw it at Earl before he pounced onto Billy, holding his throat. Don't open her, I'm warning you. At once, Jackson hit Nolan on his back, throwing him onto the floor. Billy held him down, chuckling, You're outnumbered. You might show your dominance on the girl, but you ain't getting away now. Nolan, struggling to fight the men off, watched Earl pick up Ivania's chains. Get away from her. Don't open her chains. There's no point of trying. You'll not be able to save your wife from us. Take care of him, boys. Billy and Jackson started throwing punches at Nolan. But as soon as Earl took the chain off and grinned at Ivania, he was taken aback by the rage in this girl's eyes. My wife doesn't need anyone to save her. I was just trying to save you three from her. Ivania went rogue. She unleashed herself of the vicious contamination that ran in her blood. This infection that caused her to have this insatiable hunger for flesh as day turned to night. Now it was time to content herself. It had been long since Nolan and Ivania had been on the run, fleeing from people not to save themselves, but to save others from Ivania. Ivania didn't want to be like this, but when night fell, there was no stopping her. She lost all control. The only thing that had ever been able to tame her was Nolan, the only person who understood her and protected her from the evil nature she acquired since the day she became infected. You checked their pockets, right? Yes, got the keys to the boat. You go pack the things while I finish burying them. We have to leave this place, Nolan. But we can't go on like this our whole life. We need to find Dr. Colton. He's responsible for your condition. We have to solve this. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.